I just,
It thinks I'm you too.
you can go to the, okay, let me share my screen again. All right. Okay, so I'm Elisa Wilcox with Kingdom Real Estate Group, and we are a real estate team. We have 3 active agents, and then a marketing director, and also a runner who helps us just put out signs and all the little details that always have to happen with real estate. So that's a little bit about us. But one of the things we specialize in is selling homes. And so I put together this class's presentation on basically kind of a lot of the most frequently asked questions that I receive from people who are just thinking about selling, even thinking about future projects. Like it might be something that you're not going to do for a year or two or more, but you just want to know, like, hey, how is that going to affect the resale value of my home? What things should I really focus on? So that's a little bit of what we're going to go through. And to me, my definition of staging, there's obviously all different types of staging, but for me, it's making the wisest choices that we can to really, I guess, enhance the return on investment for every dollar that we put in. So one of the statistics is that the National Association of Realtors says that for every $100 we spend on staging a home, a seller can potentially recoup $400. So four times return on investment is a pretty good one to me, and especially for a small investment such as like $100. So now here's the trick: is the key improvements are the key. So there's things that you're going to get your money back out, and then there's things that you won't. So we're going to go through some of the ones that are most important. So when you are actually ready, so the context here is going to be more like when you really are getting ready to sell a house and get it staged. Like I said, there might be other times when there's bigger projects, and anytime somebody's thinking about doing something to the house, then we can always talk. I'll give you feedback on the different specific projects, but this is when we're actually like, okay, we're near term in the next month to 6 months, we're ready to go ahead and list the house and sell it. Here's the 4 key things that are most important for staging. 1, purge and pack. 2, clean the house. Work on lighting, and then any little touch-ups that you've been like meaning to get to that you can take care of in an afternoon. And we'll go through each one of these in more detail. So first, purge and pack. So I always say the first step in moving out is going ahead and packing even before we list. So it honestly helps the entire process go so much more smoothly once you have a contract. Which you right now the market is very strong in San Antonio. The houses are selling very quickly. My personal days on market is I think at 24 right now. So basically within 24 days from listing, your house is selling. So you need, you to do as much upfront and proactively as you can is very helpful, but it also really helps in the staging. It helps it sell for more. So remove clutter, start packing up all your personal items. So personal items are great. I have them myself all over my house. However, when we're going to sell, what we want is the buyer to walk into the house and feel like it's their future home. Start envisioning their Christmases there. Start envisioning their family moving in. When you have a lot of like personal items on the walls, a lot of pictures all around, people walk in and they feel very much like they're invading your space. Like they kind of feel out of place, and they feel like, well, I don't want to touch anything. This is somebody else's house. We don't want them to feel like this is somebody else's house. We want them to feel like this is their future home. So as much as you can pack up those personal items, clear the sink of any dishes, all those things that we use all the time. Just put them away, hide them away. Purge and organize the pantry. So that's another one where we tend to, have a lot of things. Maybe we go to Sam's and get huge things of, 20 rolls of paper towels or toilet paper or things like that, which this past year has been sort of interesting. I feel like more people are stocking up a little bit more than ever before. But when we're going to sell, this is the time to go ahead and purge that. If you have canned goods that you haven't used, but they're not expired, this can be a great opportunity to make a nice donation to the food pantry. Or if you're cleaning out closets, donate, clothes, different items. So it can actually be a blessing and something nice to do to somebody in need. But at the same time, you're cleaning out, you're starting that move process. And then clear the home of child and pet toys. So with this one, I think it's easiest like Home Goods, Target, so many different places now have these really cute bins. Just get a nice big bin that you can throw in a closet or anywhere, but they have all different ones that have a lot of style and personality to the bins themselves. Just throw everything in there. It makes it really easy. You can also have like a laundry basket. If there's stuff that you don't really have a place to put it all, throw it all in there, throw it in the car when there's a showing and take it with you. And when you come back, you just pull it out of the car, but it's not right there for everybody to see during the showings. The more little items that they see when they walk in for a showing, people tend to think, well, is there not enough storage? I mean, there's a lot of things that people start kind of in their mind, um, thinking about the house when there's these small items just sort of here and there. Organize closets and pack up seasonal clothes. This is another one where you can purge, but also, I mean, we know that there's like entire seasons where we're not going to be wearing those jackets and the sweaters and all those different things. So if right now we're going into spring and summer, box up all that winter stuff because by the time it's winter again, you're going to be in your beautiful new home. You can unpack it and be like, it'll be like a shopping spree when you get to the new place. But go ahead and pack that stuff up. Now, one thing with Purge and Pack, the ideal thing is to just get a storage unit so you can take it there and kind of start storing stuff away for the move. If you're not able to do that, it is fine to put it in the garage. So we don't usually photograph garages. And while you don't want a garage just packed full, again, it might be another area you need to purge. People know that people are moving. So if they open up a garage and there's some boxes here and there, that's still better than opening up the closet and having the Monopoly game fall on their head as they're trying to look at the house. So two options, like I said, ideal is definitely to get a storage unit if you can. The next one is clean house. So now we've purged everything, we've started packing, and then all those little dust bunnies start showing up as we're packing stuff up and moving things. So definitely a thorough cleaning is important. Also, it's good to consider having it professionally cleaned. We all have busy lives, and sometimes there's all those little detail things like cleaning fans and blinds and things like that we don't do all the time. But it's great to have just one good professional clean and leave the house clean to start out with. Also, have carpets cleaned if needed. These are all different things where I have great resources as well. So through the years, I've gathered a really strong vendor list of people that have great prices, very reliable. They do good work. And so for so many of these different things, it's like we can just hook you up with somebody who's great at that already and kind of get that off your plate. Wash the windows. This is one of those ones where, if your windows are pretty good and it's a second story house, maybe you don't have to, but looking through the window and having a nice clear glass is so much better than looking through, especially if they're actually like really dirty. I mean, windows and bringing in light is so important to a house. Make sure all your window coverings are clean and replace if dated. One really important thing on that is if anything won't really open fully or correctly too. So as we're showing the house, we definitely want to be able to like open up all the windows, open up the blinds. If you have that one blind that, never works quite right, that one you may want to think about replacing. But just make sure that they all work and can open up nice and bright so all your windows can be open. Have the HVAC system cleaned and serviced. So a lot of times we already have a service contract maybe for like twice a year, a spring and a fall cleaning. If you don't have something like that, I just recommend doing, a service right before you go on the market. Change the air conditioning filter. That's such a simple one. I mean, it's inexpensive, so simple to do, but that's one of the big turnoffs. I always say it with a buyer, the big five systems are your electrical, your plumbing, your HVAC, your roof, and your foundation. Well, HVAC is one where you can very inexpensively have it cleaned and serviced, change that filter, and kind of remove one of those big five from that list and just have the peace of mind that, hey, the system's running great, it's nice and clean, and it actually also helps the air smell better if you have a dirty filter in there. So simple thing to do, and yet very important. Display nice hand towels in the bathroom. It's definitely worth a trip to Home Goods and get some nice, clean, crisp white towels. Make sure they all match. Clear clutter in the shower. So if you have like seven different kinds of shampoo and you really only use one, or a ton of different, body washes, all the different things that we kind of store in there, but we don't use all the time, pare it down to exactly what you use every day and only have that in there. And then keep the toilet lid shut. Very simple, but it really does make a difference. Next is work on lighting. So this is another one that's one of those really simple things, but it has a big impact. Um, the most important place to have a nice bright light is that very first light switch when you walk through the front door. So if that particular area, if it's your entryway, your foyer, if you walk in and it seems dark when they flip on the light, that's going to be their first impression. So we want to make sure that that particular area and throughout the house, but that particular area, especially when you flip it on, the house comes to life and it looks bright and clean and it just gives a great first impression. Then you want to walk around the entire house, turn on every single light you have, and make sure that all the light bulbs match each other. So if it's a light fixture with four light bulbs, make sure one's not yellow and one's blue. And, just change them all so they match. Make them a little bit brighter than what you would normally live with on a normal basis. And then if one is burned out in a light fixture, typically the rest are probably getting close to burning out because you probably put them all in there at the same time when you first bought the house, or when it was first installed. So I recommend just going ahead and changing them all if one or two lights are burned out, because last thing you want is you want to start showing and then all of a sudden something burns out. This is again one of those really simple ones, but it when inspectors look at a house, if a light bulb is not working in a light fixture and it's the only one, and they're not able to determine that it's just a light bulb that's making that light fixture not work, they have to note it as a potential electrical issue, or something much bigger. So, probably two or three times a year, I have this issue come up where it's like, no, it's literally just changing a light bulb, and we can usually get it worked out. But why even have that doubt in the mind of your buyer if it's something as simple as buying a bunch of bulbs at HEB, Home Depot, Lowe's, and just going through and changing them out? And then that bright white um, is the best to just make it bright and really pop whenever they turn on those light bulbs. And then opening curtains and shades. So we want to show, that outside light is great, and it also brings the outdoors into the house. So next is touch-ups. So my rule of thumb on touch-ups are do all those things that you know that you can do in an afternoon and that you've been meaning to do. So if you can go buy, a little bit of like silicone and some touch-up paint and just walk around and do a few things that you've been meaning to do. Reattach that trim board. Just spend a Saturday doing a few things. This is where you're going to really get some big payoff as far as, one afternoon of sweat equity can either increase what buyers are willing to pay for the house. It makes it look move-in ready, or it also really helps you on, again, that inspection time when they're going to come back and say, hey, we noticed these things. But biggest thing with this that I found for buyers is that when they see everything kind of touched up and move-in ready in their mind, they think, well, this house must have been maintained really well. There must, everything behind the walls must also mirror that. When they see little projects that haven't been done, they think the exact opposite. They start thinking, well, if these are the little projects I see, then what else haven't they done? What other maintenance have they deferred? So these are these just kind of little things that are simple to do, but can definitely have some big payoff. Some of these include, like I said, reattaching trim boards, applying knobs to cabinets. So if like one of those little knobs is broken off, just go replace it or screw it back in. Some glue here, some E6000 glue can work wonders on some of these like doorknobs and stuff like that. Making sure all blinds open and work. and fixing locks on doors. I don't know how many times I go to show a house and there's like a piece of tape over the lock on the door. That's a very inexpensive and simple fix. And you don't want buyers as they're trying to come and see the house not be able one to access it. I've also had keys where the key, really gets stuck and you're not even sure if you can open the door. Things like that are just those simple things. You want to make sure they can easily access it. That first impression is great because the key goes in the lock works, the door opens smoothly. All very simple things, but those are what's really important for first impressions for buyers. The first impression, of course, is exterior. So curb appeal is huge. Again, in my process, I'm always trying to keep it as simple as possible. So water your lawn regularly. If you know you're thinking about selling sometime soon, just start watering that lawn. It greens up really quickly, but it definitely makes a difference. Um, I've had people ask me like, should I fully sod the lawn? I mean, typically, unless it's really, just fully dirt or really bad, I would say no. Just start watering it. It's amazing how it will green up. Mow the lawn right before photos. So I have had a couple times when I've gotten to properties and they forgot to mow the lawn or the lawn person didn't show up and there's like weeds and it just looks very unkept and unmanicured. So a very quick mow can make a huge difference. Trim bushes and trees, especially those leading up to the front door, the path, anything that's blocking like the sidewalk, the pathways. We don't want buyers to have to do like the limbo to get to the front door because they're dodging trees and bushes. And then fresh mulch. Fresh mulch is I think one of the most simple things that you can do. Buy some bags of fresh mulch and just spread it out, across all the different beds, and it just makes everything really pop and look fresh. And then drought tolerant flowers are a great way to add a little pop of color. If you have a hook, like a hanging basket can be nice. I say drought tolerant because while flowers are beautiful, what's not beautiful is ones that are all dried up and wilted. So, and again, we want to keep this as simple as possible. There's some beautiful daisies. There's a lot of really, really pretty drought tolerant flowers. I just recommend doing that. And you can be as simple as leaving them in the container from the store and like just putting one by the front door, maybe a pop here or there, but a little pop of color makes a big difference. What I don't recommend on this one is like planting new trees. New trees take a while to actually like root in and are probably not going to have that big of an impact until they're fairly large and substantial. You don't need to buy expensive lawn furniture or completely re-landscape. It's just simple little touches that really make a big impact on that curb appeal. So here's my don'ts list. So what I don't recommend is any major remodeling. And the reason for this is it's really hard to do at a level where you're going to get a really great return on investment. So while we all know like all the different flipping shows and the remodeling shows out there, those are people that have a background in like interior design, that have done this for years, that have made mistake after mistake after mistake, and still they hope that they hit the nail on the head of what buyers are looking for each different house. So my example here is I truly believe that like the buyers at Home Depot and Lowe's and some of these big stores have a pretty good pulse on the market in general. And yet when you go to like the tile aisle or the flooring aisle, you see just row after row after row of different options. So between all those different options and all the different combinations, you have thousands of different choices. And how do you know that the buyer that's going to walk through your door is going to have that same taste? So now I say this with a caveat, which is that if there's things where that something really has to be redone, those would be the times where I would say have me come over and look at the house, and we can figure out what's the least expensive way to do it in a way that's going to get you the most return on investment. But in my experience, for the most part, just the general homeowner who's living in the house, enjoying the house right now, and ready to sell, it does not pay off dollar for dollar to like do a complete kitchen gut and remodel before they list to sell. Next is buying expensive new furniture. There's a lot of little touch-ups that we can do with the current furniture, like um, like furniture covers, new pillows, but also less is usually more. So again, like if I come look at a house, usually it's like, hey, let's remove actually like 50 to 80% of the furniture and just stage a couple of chairs here and there. So save that purchase of the new furniture for your new beautiful home, but not for staging. It's usually just not necessary. And then spend time on inconspicuous things. So I've had a lot of homeowners and sellers be like, well, this one little brass hinge really bugs me. Well, okay, but it's not going to be a deal breaker for a buyer. So like maintenance, repairs, those things, little like a water stain that you've been meaning to paint, where the the actual leak has been fixed, but the painting just never got done. Do those things. But like little inconspicuous things that bug you may or may not actually bug a buyer. So just walk through the house. This is what I do when I get to a house. I walk through the house as if I'm a buyer looking at it for the first time. And I notice what really pops out to me in that initial walkthrough, not necessarily what bugs you in your day-to-day actual living in that house. And next is buy new kitchen appliances. New kitchen appliances are pretty expensive. Again, this can be a one-off situation if you know that your stove is on its last leg and you can go and buy a fairly inexpensive one. But unless you get really good high-end appliances, they're not really going to be a selling feature that's going to get you an exact return on investment. Actually, and when I say return on investment, what I mean is if I pay $5,000 for new appliances, can I list my house for exactly $5,000 more or more so that I'm actually making money on that improvement? And with kitchen appliances, that's not one of those ones. I mean, a house is expected to have appliances, and you're not going to get a lot more money for a brand new appliance than a different house that has a 3-year-old, stove or something like that. So again, if it's important to a particular buyer, then we can cross that bridge when we get to it. But I would not recommend just replacing all appliances just up front. So one question I get a lot is about like carpet, paint, and countertops. So carpet, these are 3 things that I would say have me come look at the house. Fresh paint can make a big difference. And having somebody come in and just do fresh paint throughout a house can be a big payoff. What I don't want is people to be too personalized with the paint color. Like again, there's so many choices of paint colors and things like that. So if you make smart choices, fresh paint can definitely pay off. Same with carpet. So carpet, I have companies that can actually replace the carpet up front and get paid at closing. If it's something where the carpet that's there, I mean, honestly, carpet can be a pretty inexpensive change to really update a space if needed. So those carpet paint and then countertops are another one too that sometimes it is worth it if that's the only change you're making in a kitchen to update it. Granite countertops definitely help houses. What I would not do is completely remodel a kitchen, but again, just the countertops is something we could definitely talk about. Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. It's really on a case by case basis. So here's our do's and don'ts. So on the one side for our do's, you see some of our different staging. Some of them are ones that we have done in houses, and then don'ts. These are not our listings, but these are good examples of houses, just how we normally live. That's the thing. I mean, there's how we normally live every day, and then there's the little things we want to do when we're going to stage and sell a house. So we want to keep it simple. Adding greenery, it doesn't necessarily have to be living. It can be, fake plants or plastic. But a lot of like the plastic succulents look very real and really, really good. Adding greenery, propping to tell a story. So this one's really, really important as far as like if you have an office, but right now you're using it as sort of a catch-all and sort of a storage space and this and that. That's one of those ones you want to pack it up, clear it up, and put a desk in it and stage it like an office. Tell people the story of how this room should be used. Dining rooms are like that a lot. A lot of times some people use their dining room as a dining room. They use it as something else. whatever story we need to tell about each space so that people can envision themselves in it again. And then light, bright, and clean is key. So on the other side, you see the don'ts. Um, so we want to make the beds. I mean, pick up those toys. Like there's a good example of just sort of a big basket that you can throw everything in and tuck that away and make it look cute. Um, so, and again, depersonalizing the space. So as great as everybody's family photos are, it's definitely best to just go ahead and start putting that stuff away, so that the buyers can picture themselves in the house. So here's one example of telling that story. So this was just a simple, desk in a room, and so this was actually my laptop, and I walked around the house and grabbed a few things. So one of the things I do too is when we're actually ready to sell, when we do photography, I go on the day of photography. I've got pillows and blankets and plants and wreaths for the front door mats, all these little things that I bring that really can help tell the story of the space. In the kitchen, we put either a sign that says like gather or eat and drink, and a little bottle of wine and some lemons. Lemons is one of my big one. That bright yellow pop of color, even if it's just fake lemons, it really is inviting, and it's very welcoming in the space. So little things that we can do too once everything is decluttered and cleared out to bring in just the right little touches that really tell the story. So those are the key things where I would, if it was me, I would recommend spending the money, the time, and the effort in those specific places. So do you guys have any questions? All right. If no questions, then you guys can always, my contact information is here. Like I said, for so many things, it really is on a case by case basis as far as each individual house and the return on investment. So the main things are if there is something that you love, that you want in your house, that you do not care if you're like, okay, I want this. A swimming pool is a great example of this. So swimming pools will help a house sell faster and for more money, but you will never get dollar for dollar out of the swimming pool cost when you go to sell. So if there's things that you love in life, enjoy your house, live in it the way you want to live in it. But when you're ready to sell, be very, very smart about every dollar that you put into it so that you can truly get the most bang for each dollar that you spend and for the effort that you put into it. So reach out to me for any other questions, or if you guys ever just want my opinion on a specific project, send me pictures or send me an email, and I'm happy to give you my feedback on each specific project. So thank you guys for joining. We're going to keep having more classes like this on different real estate topics. So, all right, you guys have a great day. Thank you guys all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks.